Hello and welcome to ASEAN in Focus. I'm Alma Angeles, and today, right on to the news. A few cases of Filipino infected with coronavirus disease have been reported in the Netherlands. That is according to Philippine Ambassador Jaime Victor Leda. Now, the envoy, however, didn't say the number of Filipinos infected with the disease. Now, let's listen in.
Sa awa ng Diyos, wala po tayong masyadong maraming kaso. In fact, very few ang mga balita na natanggap o report na natanggap ng embassy tungkol sa mga naapektuhan ng COVID-19. Pero kahit paano, ito'y seryoso pa rin kahit konti lang ang naapekto. And we continue to operate kahit working from home po tayo.
At present, there are approximately 8,412 Filipinos in the Netherlands and about 5,000 in the Dutch Caribbean island of Aruba. Leda said most of the overseas Filipino workers in Aruba are affected by the drastic halt on global tourism due to the pandemic, and majority of them are working in the travel and hotel industry. The embassy is also coordinating with the Dutch government and the Filipino community to provide them necessary assistance, including the Filipino seafarers currently in the country. The embassy is also working with the Philippine Overseas Labor and Office in Berlin for the release of the one-time cash assistance to OFWs affected by the pandemic.
Ang mga ginagawa po natin, aside from the regular consular services, nakipag-ugnay rin po tayo sa Dutch government tungkol sa mga ilang concerns ng ating mga kababayan.
All right, we would like to welcome Honorable Jesus Gary Domingo, Ambassador to New Zealand, Cook Islands, Fiji, Niue, Samoa, and Tonga. Good afternoon from Manila, Ambassador.
Kia ora, magandang hapon po, Alma.
Now, we heard that you were instrumental in arranging for a repatriation flight of Filipinos and OFWs back to the Philippines. Could you tell us more about this, Ambassador?
Okay, thank you. Actually, it's a team effort between the whole staff of the embassy and the Call in Wellington and our counterparts, the New Zealand embassy, dun po sa Pinas, sa Makati, headed by my good friend, Ambassador Peter Kell. So, actually, this operation started nung na-inform kami ng New Zealand government na nagnais sila maggumawa ng repatriation flight sa mga New Zealand citizens at mga permanent residents dun stranded sa Pinas. So there's a deal with PAL na dadalhin yung mga New Zealand citizens, permanent residents sa Auckland, direct flight from Manila to Auckland, and they proposed to us now, and we also had been requesting kung sana, even with PAL, na kung may ganong flight, pwedeng pwedeng gamitin natin yung flight for mga Filipinos stranded in New Zealand, papalik from Auckland to the Philippines. Because actually, hindi ito chartered repatriation flight na funded by the Philippine government, because we need to have more to justify a repatriation flight fully funded by the government, katulad nangyayari sa ibang embassies and consulates around the world. But anyway, we took advantage of this opportunity. So the flight from Manila to New Zealand was dumating siya tanghali nung April 20 sa Auckland. Mayroong 184 na sumakay sa plane and disembarked, but also they have to, like sa Pinas, they have to undergo mandatory quarantine. So sa side naman natin, we had 60 Filipinos, including their Kiwi spouses who rode the plane, 60 total. Ang departure nila was 3 p.m., was after 3 p.m. Monday, and nakarating sila about 9:30 or so sa Pinas also Monday evening.
All right, that's great. What about, we also heard that you, what do you call this? Could you tell us more about the flight arrangements also made with the Philippine government? Okay. made with the, can I see the, ano? Okay, can you tell us, the Philippine government with Philippine Airlines also to bring naman New Zealanders from all over the Philippines back to your country?
Okay.
There also,
So yun, this was arranged. This was the first. So the first part, yung New Zealand, Philippines to New Zealand. This was coordinated between the New Zealand Embassy and Philippine Airlines. So as that was being negotiated, we also negotiated with PAL to make use of the same flight pabalik. So after dumating yung Manila to Auckland flight and they disembarked, we arranged so that Filipinos can ride that flight pag-uwi from Auckland to Manila.
Okay. Sir, napanood ko yung isang ano nyo, yung Facebook Live ninyo. And you were parang telling the Filipinos their rights in case they were evicted or something like that. Have there been instances of racial discrimination of Filipinos there due to the situation right now? Bakit nag-ano kayo ng ganong ano sa Facebook Live? You were telling them their rights on Facebook.
Okay. Well, actually, maganda yung binibigayng support ng pamahalaan ng New Zealand government. Na the key issue is paano yung mga workers na lay off.
Yes.
Or who have been, or not necessarily laid off, but who have not been able to report for work for various reasons. Meron tinatawagan na wage subsidy.
Okay.
So wage subsidy is paid by the New Zealand government sa mga New Zealand companies to help cushion the blow kasi wala silang kita, paano masasweldohan ng mga manggagawa nila, both Kiwis and international and foreign workers like our OFW. So we just had to remind our workers na meron ganun, and if the New Zealand company is availing themselves of the wage subsidy, dapat meron din kayong natanggap na wage subsidy. And so we just advise kung, generally, nagko-comply naman ng mga New Zealand companies, but we advise kung hindi nyo natatanggap, and we advise kung paano kayo pwede magreklamo, but workers are first urged to talk with their employers to make sure na if the company is receiving wage subsidy, na they should get their fair share. But if not, we advise kung paano na ma-remedyohan yun. And secondly, we also reminded that no one is supposed to be evicted from yung tirahan nila. So we've just reassurance na may ganon, but just in case there's some cases na evict, may remedyo din. And there have been cases where we work with the Filipino community. There are some, for example, some tourists, some workers na had to move, and buti na lang, there are some Filipino community friends who opened their doors. So this was more of again an advisory, and also the third thing is yung food sa pagkain. Meron naman mga food banks and New Zealand Civil Defense, mga local governments, Auckland, Wellington, Christchurch, and so on, that also provide emergency food and emergency assistance. So we provided yung mga hotline, yung mga emails of how to provide for that assistance. Sa side naman ng Philippine government, there is of course the ACAP assistance administered through the Philippine Overseas Labor Offices, that one time $200 assistance, but that is mainly going to those na hindi nakatanggap ng assistance from their from the host government, like case New Zealand government, or through the employers. So our Polo is busy processing the applications for that. I know maraming reklamo, bakit ang daming requirements? But we have to make sure na those availing themselves of it talagang qualified. Kasi hindi basta Pinoy worker ka, kasi limited ang budget, and we have to take care of all the workers around the world. Ang priority talaga is para sa mga manggagawa na hindi nakatanggap ng ibang klaseng assistance. So we ask, pasensya lang po, but we have to make this process fair and transparent. That's why ang daming requirements. But these requirements were those stipulated from the DOLE, POEA, OWA back home. So, but there have been those na naka-comply, and unti-unti meron naman na natanggap ng assistance through electronic banking.
Okay, that's good. Sir, yung mga OFWs natin, kumusta naman po sila ngayon dyan? Karamihan po na you've met, and paano nagtutulungan ang ating mga kababayan dyan?
Okay. Well, one, I think your earlier question in discrimination, I think, well, all around the world may continue, but it's the problem was more of not so much. Yeah, there have been some instances, but I guess this is some general cases of it's not so much racial, but one example is I think it's more general problems faced by the frontliners, mga nurse, mga doctor, mga caregivers. One instance was okay, sa mga supermarkets may pilahan doon, di ba?
Yes.
So a supermarket or store, ilang lang pwedeng pumasok at any given time may pila. But the frontliners are given priority. Pwede silang dumiretso.
Yes.
And there were some cases na yung nakapila, nagalit sa mga nurse. And those who were, but more seriously though, there have been cases na talagang overworked ang ating mga frontliners. And I would have to say our Filipino frontliners, nurses, doctors, caregivers, medtechs, they're really the pride of our people all over the globe, and they've been commended. And even here in New Zealand, they're doing a fantastic job. Of course, many are facing stress, loneliness, kasi they miss their families. And in some cases, there have been some cases where hindi sila na-provide ng PPEs. So, but that's being addressed by the hospitals and the clinics. But there have been cases where some volunteers have been providing food, providing PPEs to our frontliners as well as to the Pinoys, but also contributing mismo to the food banks for general use. So I think it's really bringing out the best in the Filipino, best in humanity at this point.
But it's good there that in New Zealand, the number of cases is already going down, flattening the curve. And also, you are going to alert level 3 on Monday?
Yes. Well, yes, Monday midnight between Monday and Tuesday. So level 3, actually, it's still so what level 3 means, actually there's not that much difference with level 4 in terms of the day-to-day life of the majority of people. So right now we're in complete lockdown. You can only go out to buy food, to buy medicine, and exercise by yourself. Pero sarado pa ang mga restaurants, mga general stores, mga malls. So what level 3 means, that will be relaxed. But as far as embassy services go, as far as mga tinatawag na essential services, they can function more openly. Kaya lang, there's still a restriction on services that require face-to-face contact. So, sa embassy, we will not be operating as normal. Because up to now, we're operating work from home. We still answer and assist our kababayan in terms of priority and emergency assistance. But yung mga regular services like passporting and documentation renewal, mga ganon, hindi pa pwede yun. Kasi although an embassy is an essential service, it doesn't mean pwede kaming tumanggap ng mga regular clients. So what we can do, however, is yung mga things like yung mga ibang registration, documentation, na pwedeng because some of these services require padala niyo muna yung mga documents sa amin. We can already start at least to receive those documents that will start our other services like civil registration, mga ganon. But we still have to observe the usual protocols. Now, yung mga mails, for example, so documents have to be sent by normal mail. We'll have to also make sure that once we receive them, we have the decontamination process, that we don't handle it right away, but let some time go by before we can actually handle the document. So it's so we are able to provide to go back to normal to some extent, but yung mga face-to-face services like passporting, ganon, hindi pa pwede po. Habang nasa level 3 pa tayo.
Okay. And you said like takeaway restaurants, you cannot go and sit down there. Just takeaways lang talaga. Take out lang
Tama.
talaga. Just like here, yeah. Now, sir, meron akong parang off-the-bat question because it was in the news yesterday. It was big news and still headline now. Si President Trump has just announced a 60-day suspension of immigration. Do you think this will be followed by other countries, your country? Why? Why not?
Well, there was not a blanket declaration like that at this point. But let's say at this point right now is there is a restriction on who can come to New Zealand, come back to New Zealand, and that is New Zealand citizens and New Zealand permanent residents, and some essential workers. The government is really still reviewing what will happen after this, because right now also we're a period of what's been declared. We have the alert levels, also the national emergency. But now there has not been such a blanket declaration. I think also, while of course, so what's confronting New Zealand like other countries is that yung mga nationals mismo, mga Kiwis mismo, maraming na unemployed.
Yes.
So I think what the New Zealandese government is looking at, of course, they'll have to see how they can, it's understandable, they will have to prioritize their own people. But there will still be some sectors, kailangan din ang migrant workers.
Yes.
Especially yung mga frontline work, such as in the medical and the health field, in the caring field. Also, the construction and the farming dairy industries are heavily reliant also on migrant workers, so they'll still have to see. So, sa ngayon, to answer your question, there's not yet such a blanket declaration like in the case of the U.S.
Okay, sir, last but not least, is there a positive takeaway from all this that's been happening around us? What is your message to fellow Filipinos here in the Philippines and in New Zealand and to everybody watching us today?
Okay, well, I think because we've been staying home, lockdown, our families have become closer at home. Our friendships have also been closer and renewed, at least through social media, through Facebook, through Zoom, through TikTok. And I think it's given us time to reflect what's really important in life. And I think here in New Zealand, we are flattening the curve. In the Philippines, I've been hearing there's positive developments of also kahit papano, there have been many recoveries.
Yes.
So I think, but let's not be complacent. I think in the Philippines, we still have a longer lockdown period, and I urge our kababayan to please respect that. And I think in terms of our down to the barangay level, I think our local governments are doing the best job they can, but there are still some gaps. But I see there's some great opportunities to provide support through. There are apps, there are websites where you can order food to be delivered without contact. And there's been a lot of sharing of resources, some good humanitarians. Our churches, faith-based group, I'm very glad to see the Iglesia ni Cristo has been also doing a lot of wonderful work in providing assistance for our less fortunate kababayan and also around the world. So I think this period is a time to reflect, and this has been a chance for humanity to shine. And I think we have this expression in the Maori language, the native language of New Zealand, kia kaha, stay strong, and God will help us. He will not abandon us in this hour of need.
Thank you, Ambassador. Did you say kia kaha? Did I say that right? Kia kaha?
Yes, perfect.
Perfect, okay. Thank you so much, and kia kaha too. Thank you so much for your time, Ambassador. Ambassador Jesus Gary Domingo, the Philippine Ambassador to New Zealand, Cook Islands, Fiji, Niue, Samoa, and Tonga. Thank you. Now, strict anti-disease transmission rules for domestic flights in Thailand when they resume on May 1. More from our EBC correspondent in Bangkok, Gila Pablo. Hello, Gila.
Good afternoon, Alma.
Good afternoon, Gila.
Yes, in regards of the commercial flights, the free phase here in Thailand, they will um, impose a strict disease control rules. Since commercial airlines have been told to adopt strict anti-disease transmission rules when they resume domestic flights on May 1. That's according to the Civil Aviation Authority of Thailand, or CEAT. While returning to the skies is the airline's right, they must operate flights differently, said the CAAT Director General. Alma, the airline's most low-cost carriers, will meet the CAAT tomorrow to discuss guidelines and rules for starting flights on May 1, following weeks of operational suspension as COVID-19 has caused air travel demand to dry up. And he said the rules, which factor in social distancing and disease transmission prevention, include leaving empty seats in each row in cabins, requiring passengers to wear masks, and not serving food and drinks. The May 1 flight resumption comes as a temporary ban on incoming foreign aircraft issued by the CAAT remains in effect until the end of the month, with exceptions made for some flights, including repatriation flights. Thai-registered airlines which have put the brakes on their flights so far are national carrier Thai Airways International, its low-cost subsidiary like Thai Smile, Thai Air Asia, Thai Air Asia X, and Nok Air. Meanwhile, international flights operated by Nok Scoot will remain suspended until the end of the month, while Bangkok Airways has shelved its international flights indefinitely, although its domestic flights have been halted until the end of the month. Alma, at least 4 airlines, those are Thai Airways, Thai Air Asia, Thai Lion Air, Nok Air, and Bangkok Airways, have announced they will restart domestic flights next month. Meanwhile, Thai said on Tuesday it was suspending repatriation flights to Sydney, Australia, and to Auckland, New Zealand, to bring Thai citizens home from April 25 to 27. And additionally, Alma, Thailand visa amnesty extended to July 30. Alma, Thailand's cabinet has approved a second automatic visa extension for foreigners for 3 more months. The extended amnesty is a bid to prevent long queues at immigration centers around the country. The spokeswoman for the Thai government says they want to stem the spread of the coronavirus and avoid foreigners having to wait in lines and threaten their own health and the health of the immigration officials. According to the draft notification approved by the cabinet on 21st of April, the period of time permitted to stay will be extended from 1st of May to 31st of July. This means that foreigners whose visas had expired as of 26th of March will be permitted to stay until 31st of July without having to apply for an extension. And Alma, Thailand has recorded 2,811 coronavirus cases, 48 fatalities, and 90 new cases were announced as of today as a trend in new cases continues to drop. Back to you, Alma.
All right. Thank you very much, Gila, for your update, and we'll see you soon. Stay safe. Always stay healthy.
Thank you, Alma. Same to you. This is Gila Pablo reporting from Bangkok, Thailand. We live in interesting times.
All right, the tuberculosis TB vaccine's efficacy and effectiveness against COVID-19 is to be studied by Vietnam. Ralph Wandolph Empire from Hanoi, Vietnam reports. Hello, Ralph.
Hi there, Alma. Happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday, Ralph.
All right, let's start, Alma. My news today is about tuberculosis vaccine, which Vietnam is going to study to combat COVID-19. Up to 800 Vietnamese frontline healthcare workers have agreed to take part in a clinical trial designed to test the effectiveness of a tuberculosis vaccine against COVID-19. The participants will be given at random a dose of Bacille Calmette-Guerin, or BCG vaccine, which was developed 100 years ago to combat tuberculosis. This is to confirm reports suggesting the vaccine might provide protection against the worst effects of the novel strain of coronavirus. And as we know, the entire world is desperate for a treatment method against the unprecedented pandemic. Now, this plan by Vietnamese health authorities was put in motion after a US study proposed there might be a meaningful correlation between a country's COVID-19 caseload and death rate and whether the country has conducted universal BCG childhood vaccinations. The researchers said in a statement, and I quote, "We found that countries without universal policies of BCG vaccination, such as Italy, the Netherlands, and the United States, have been more severely affected compared to countries with universal and long-standing BCG policies." Unquote. Vietnam's Ministry of Health has commissioned the National Lung Hospital and the National Institute of Hygiene and Epidemiology to carry out the research into the caseload correlation within the context of Vietnam, where the vaccine is universally available and mandatory. Professor Nguyen, the director of Vietnam National Lung Hospital, said that the hospital has submitted an outline of the plan to the Ministry of Health pending approval. Now, the hypothesis is that BCG vaccine, and I quote, "is not working specifically to prevent infections of tuberculosis, flu, or COVID-19, unquote, but it has a harmonizing effect that can direct the immune system to respond at the right level to SARS-CoV-2." The director said, or told Vietnam news agency. He cited the acute case of the 43-year-old British pilot currently undergoing treatment in Vietnam for COVID-19, saying that while the patient was a perfectly healthy male, his condition had deteriorated dangerously and unpredictably due to his own body's defense mechanisms' overreaction to the coronavirus. He was referring to earlier reports in which the country's leading doctors in the field, who have been watching over his health condition via telehealth format, confirmed that the amount of cytokine that the patient's immune system secreted to combat the virus was too much, causing damage to his own internal organs and functions in a phenomenon known as a cytokine storm. This is quite interesting, Alma. By the way, cytokine is a small protein produced by cells in the nervous and immune systems that affects what happens between cells. Now, what about cytokine storm? It's a severe immune reaction in which the body releases too many cytokines into the blood too quickly. Cytokines play an important role in normal immune responses, but having a large amount of them released in the body all at once can be harmful. Now, moving on, the professor emphasized that the hypothesis remains purely observational and confirmation can be obtained via clinical trials. He said that the plan might be undertaken in two directions. First, it could be a clinical trial with the involvement of Vietnam, Cambodia, and France, designed to see whether the BCG vaccine could help protect high-risk health workers against COVID-19. 800 Vietnamese health workers, together with 400 from Cambodia and 1,000 from France, will be participating in this plan if it goes through. The participating doctors and nurses are mostly from the National Hospital for Tropical Diseases in Hanoi and the Ho Chi Minh City Hospital for Tropical Diseases, where many of the COVID-19 patients reported in Vietnam have been or are being treated. Now, secondly, health experts could just conduct an evaluation on the pool of COVID-19 patients reported in Vietnam and compare the conditions between those who have been vaccinated with BCG and those who haven't. The immunized group is supposed to have quicker recoveries and fewer critical cases than in non-immunized group. On the other hand, the Vice Director of the Administration of Science, Technology, and Training under the Ministry of Health stressed that all medical studies involving humans must be reviewed and approved by the Ministry's Ethics Committee. The BCG vaccine has been included in Vietnam's National Expanded Program of Immunization since 1985. Vietnam is currently capable of producing the vaccine domestically and is providing it for free under the immunization program for all 1-year-olds. 6 countries in the world are reportedly conducting the trial that includes Australia and the Netherlands. Professor Nguyen, however, cautioned that public not to act unwisely on the fear and inject BCG on their own without professional supervision. I quote, "Even if the study is underway, the vaccines must not be given indiscriminately to adults. Japan has seen cases of adolescents suffering from complications after being given a dose of BCG vaccine in an attempt to ward off COVID-19. He warned, adding that in Vietnam, BCG vaccine is recommended only for 1-month-old to 1-year-old babies. Repeat shots are actually recommended against, especially in adults, he said. Total reliance on the vaccine while failing to observe social distancing and proper hygiene measures like wearing masks and frequently washing hands would lead to a worsening outbreak situation, Professor Nguyen said. The World Health Organization at the moment is saying that there has not been sufficient evidence proving that BCG vaccine can lower novel coronavirus infections, morbidity, or the severity of the disease. Alma?
Ralph, I'll see you soon. And that vaccine is indeed interesting. We'll see the results later. Thank you so much, Ralph. Keep safe, stay healthy as always.
My pleasure, Alma. This is Ralph Pandolf, and by reporting live from Hanoi, we live in interesting times.
ASEAN in Focus will be right back.
Maraming salamat po sa nurse na nag-asikaso sa amin ng anak ko kahit sobrang busy niya.
Hindi po ako iniwan ng doktor hanggang sa umayos ang pakiramdam ko. Salamat po talaga.
Thank you po sa nursing assistant na pumansin agad sa amin pagdating namin ng ospital.
Thank you so much po talaga sa lahat ng staff ng ospital, maging sa mga utility po, dahil gumaling po ako dahil sa kanila.
Ating pasalamatan at pangalagaan ang mga magigiting na health workers.
This program is presented by
SMC Infrastructure, building a better world.
Co-presented by Canrib Corporation, your ventilation and air conditioning specialist. Vita Herbs Philippines Green Coffee, masarap, mabango, at healthy pa. Kubert Industries Incorporated, Trading and Services, the cooling expert. In participation with Rain or Shine Elastomeric Waterproofing Paint, color for protection for your home. Matimco. Matimco is wood. Wood is Matimco. R Square Variables Incorporated, your trusted UPS supplier and UPS maintenance provider in Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. CompuZell Computer Services, ID card and lanyard manufacturer, DN Steel. EMAT UPVC Roof Corporation.
Skyway Stages 1 and 2, the elevated toll road system project, run from a section of the South Luzon Expressway from Alabang to Magallanes, Makati. The Skyway Stage 3 is an elevated expressway connecting the South Luzon Expressway through the existing Skyway Stages 1 and 2 to the North Luzon Expressway via Balintawak. Skyway Stage 4 is an 80-kilometer mixed elevated and at-grade toll road that will connect the existing Skyway system starting from the FTI section all the way to Bulacan.
All right, welcome back. Now, we would like to welcome His Excellency Paul Raymond Cortez, Consul General of Dubai, United Arab Emirates. Good afternoon from Manila, sir.
Good afternoon as well. Thank you for inviting me and thank you for welcoming me.
And thank you, sir, for gracing our program. I would like to ask, sir, kumusta po ang mga Pilipino natin dyan sa UAE?
Well, a lot of the Filipinos here are in good shape. So far, there have been about 7,700 cases across the whole UAE for COVID-19 cases. And of these 7,000, almost 1,000, 46 lang po ang naitalang deaths and about 1,500 recoveries. Yung UAE naman po has been very, very active as far as trying to secure secure not only yung mga local Emiratis but the rest of the migrant communities here with frequent disinfection ng mga public roads, facilities, buses, trains and all that, and puspusang mass testing. In fact, the UAE is second to Iceland when it comes to the number of tests per million population. So as you could see, talagang ginagawan ho ng paraan ng UAE na maging safe din yung mga migrants dito. Considering of the 10 million na nasa UAE ngayon, 1 million lang po ang local Emiratis. The rest are migrants and mostly Indians, which comprise 35% or something like 3.5 million Indians, 1.5 million Pakistanis, and then you have the local Emiratis. Tayo, we're looking at about 800,000 of us here, Africans, Europeans, and Indonesians, and the rest of the global community nandito na po.
Okay, so you mentioned how the migrants are being helped by the
yes, by the local authorities.
By the local authorities.
In fact, a few days ago, malapit na hiling ho kasi ang Ramadan, Sheikh Mohammed, the Vice President, Prime Minister, and ruler of Dubai, had pledged, he called it 10 million meals. So nobody goes hungry, not only during this COVID time, but through Ramadan. At ito yung kanilang endeavor to give out food sa mga nangangailangan, especially maraming mga tao ho dito na no work, no pay, ika po nga. Ito yung mga nagtatrabaho mostly sa mga malls, sa restaurants, sa mga hotel. Alam naman po natin ang buong tourism industry bagsak na bagsak po, lalong-lalo na wala akong pumapasok na turista. And Dubai is one of those Emirates na talagang yun lang ang kanilang ikinabubuhay. They're very, very high on tourism, finance, trade, aviation. Kasi medyo naglihis na po sila sa oil-based na ekonomiya. Hindi tulad po ng Abu Dhabi. At sa Abu Dhabi, talagang marami pa silang latis. Ang Dubai po, ang kanilang focus non-oil-based. So, itong tourism industry. At dahil nga sa COVID-19, we have seen a lot of our kababayans and the rest of the other migrant communities din na nawalan ng trabaho o kaya nag-furlough o kaya forced leave without pay. So medyo marami ho nahihirapan at nagsistep in naman po ang gobyerno dito sa lahat ng kanilang mga programs para sa mga katulad natin, katulad ng mga walang no work, no pay.
What measures are currently in place in Dubai? Like here, we are in lockdown measures. We cannot go out unless we have a quarantine pass. In Dubai, how is it po? Can you give us a picture on?
Well, the 24/7 lockdown, ibig sabihin wala talagang lalabas maski anong oras ng araw, ay in place all the way until April 25. In fact, it was only until April 18, but it was extended again to make sure na talagang hindi pa maglaganap ang pag-spread ng virus. If you want to go out, you need to buy medicine, you need to buy your grocery, or you're one of those essential industries, you need to apply for what they call a permit, a DXB, which is Dubai's code, a DXB permit, and ina-apply to online. And once you apply this online, the approval goes straight to your cell phone, which you could now show to the police in case you are stopped or in case you need to show proof that you are actually been permitted to go out. And this permit is given once every 3 days and is good for a period of 3 hours. So yeah, you have to make sure talaga na kailangan
paano po pag
gawin mo
lumagpas
lahat.
kayo ng 3 hours na hindi sinasadya?
Yun nga. Then the police will have to step in and determine the viability or feasibility of your reasons why you had to extend. Again, I'm sorry. Itong DXB permit po para sa mga non-essential po. So yung mga essentials, like for those working in the banks, healthcare institutions, grocery, food distribution, lahat po yan ay pinapayagan for as long as you show your company ID. And the police already have an idea and have a list of all those companies na pinapayagan nila mag-operate during these COVID times. Obviously, Bangko, because you need money to go around, you need money for the whole system to work. Yung mga ATMs, yung ATM ho, hindi siya essential. Yung ATM yan, if you need to withdraw money, you're given one ATM pass in a span of 3 days. So if you need to get money get money from the ATM, it has to be up for a good period of 3 days. Otherwise, hindi kayo papayagan to keep applying for that DXB permit so often.
Sir, Dubai's service delivery system is remarkable because it's where anything can be brought to your place, from gasoline to medicine to ice cubes to your swimming pool. Diba? Ganyan sila, even government and bank transactions can be delivered, online, Dubai Smarts.
Yes, opo. Bank transactions are usually online, by phone, I should say. And in fact, pati ako, I haven't been to the bank in a year. Because all I need to do is just use my app, and pati na rin ho sa grocery delivery. Pagka maramihang grocery lang, doon kami pupunta. Pero nasanay talaga ang mga tao sa delivery dito. And hindi naman sasabihin na gulat ang buong madla when it comes to deliveries. Pero at least meron na silang inkling na nagagawa ito. Pati nga dahil clean nung araw, talagang lahat yan kinukuha sa bahay mo, and then they will deliver it as well pag na-laundry na lahat yan. Which means the economy here is built towards adapting very quickly. But of course, with a tourism-based economy, talagang marami din po nahirapan, which is why marami din dumalapit at humihingi po ng ayuda, humihingi ng konting tulong when it comes to their groceries and when it comes to their food. At tumutulong din naman ho ang host government. In fact, whatever list that comes to us, we pass it on directly to Dubai Police, and Dubai Police readily gives out deals sa ating mga kababayan at the rest of the other nationalities and ethnicities as well. At as I said, itong kalagayan ng mga ng buong community sa UAE top-notch din, at we have a lot of support from the host government. We also have a lot of support from the Filipino community mismo, nagbabayanihan din. Of course, pagka nagbabayanihan kayo, hindi naman po pwedeng lahat kayo pupunta at dadagsa sa isang lugar, dahil tandaan po natin nga, may TXB permit na kailangan applyan at you're only given once every 3 days. So sparingly ginagawa ng mga kababayan natin, nagsasabitan sila to give out donations, to give out, distribute some of the relief goods as well sa mga nangangailangan.
Sir, yung DOLE, can you explain why it suspended the one-time cash aid of $200? Am I right, for Filipinos whose jobs?
Sige po,
yeah, please do.
It's a one-time, yes po, it's a one-time cash assistance of $200, or in local currency, it's 730 UAE dirhams. And as far as I know, as of 21st April, yesterday, midnight, 25,000 submissions have already been, applications have already been submitted. And you can only imagine with the number of staff follow. And now the consulate is also helping out. We are inundated talaga with looking and poring over all those applications to make sure na qualified yung mga bibigyan ng 730, and the qualifications are na-terminate ka, or isa ka sa mga no work, no pay, or isa ka sa mga nahihirapang maghanap ng trabaho during the COVID crisis. So, tatlong what do you call this, tatlong criteria po yun na pinag-isa-isa. So, and since there is a quota as far as Dubai is concerned, I'm not really very sure. I think DOLE would be the appropriate authority, the agency to ask for that. Obviously, hindi mabibigyan lahat ng 25,000. And if it was not suspended, siguro aabot na yan ng 30-40 mil. Hindi lang po Dubai ang hold ng applications. In fact, Riyadh, Manama, Kuwait, lahat po yan. And even Singapore, if I remember correctly seeing one of those notes, nagbigay din po ng suspension kasi nga nag-over na ho yung what do you call this, yung submissions, yung mga applications na pinadala ng ating mga kababayan. And then it also goes to show na talaga siguro marami talagang apektuhan. And when you're looking at the numbers, 25,000 out of 800,000, hindi lang natin alam how many else were not able to apply.
Okay. Pero sir, ibabalik din. Do you have any update on that? Or
Well, as far as it's only a temporary suspension hanggat mapag-aralan lahat at magbigay na. In fact, yesterday, nagsimula na akong, yes po. In fact, yesterday, nagbigay na ako ang polo, our Philippine Labor Office natin ng yung ayuda na yan, yung cash assistance. Pero pinapadala ko ata through an exchange, through a remittance center. So pupunta lang si kabayan sa remittance center. Once they get the confirmation dun sa kanilang mga cellphone at email addresses, so pupunta sila doon para makuha na nila yung kanilang cash assistance. Pero yun nga po, it's a one-time cash assistance. So hopefully this the whole crisis it isn't long drawn kasi at some point, we really need to go back to normal. But of course, all that is dependent on the flattening of the curve, so to speak, or to make sure that the number of the contamination doesn't spread even more.
Sir, si Ambassador Jesus Domingo of New Zealand, I also asked this question, and would like to ask you this. What is is there a positive takeaway from all this that is happening right now, and what is your message to everyone watching you right now?
Sure. We've seen some sad stories of how people reacted when faced with hunger or when faced with desperation. But this sort of crisis exactly brings out the character in us. It shows us why we are above every other being on earth. Humanity and sanity must reign over inanities and desperation and frustration. Ipakita po natin in this time of crisis what makes us truly human and what makes us human beings and stewards of this earth. Alam po natin na it's a difficult process for a lot of us, a lot of our kababayans, especially when faced nga po with hunger and desperation. But ipakita po natin what it makes what our character truly is, what is the essence of being a human being. At the same time, it also goes to show that a lot of things actually work without the things that we had thought nung araw na hindi talaga pala na necessary. So obviously we survived without going and buying new shoes or new clothes every so often. We survived not going to the mall just to hang out or to socialize with everybody else. Of course, ang una natin nakikita is the socialization has really gone down, but it gave us so much time to realign ourselves with our families, with with those we live with. And in my case, because Dubai is a very hectic foreign service post, much of my time is outside the home, at the helping out kababayans, visiting the hospitals, visiting the jails. So it's a really, really hectic post. For the past couple of weeks, have seen me spend my time with my little boy and my wife, and it's so easy for us to be at home with the family, and it's so enlightening to know exactly what your priorities are.
Thank you so much, sir. On behalf of Eagle Broadcasting Corporation, wish you good health. Thank you so much for your time.
Maraming salamat din ho. And if you permit me, shout out po sa ating mga kapatid na nanonood dito sa Dubai at Hilagang Emirates. At kapit lang po at dasal-dasal lang po tayo. Everything is going to pass and we do know that after all this, marami po tayo matututunan for ourselves and for our children.
Salamat po. Buhay po kayo. Thank you po. All right, His Excellency Paul Raymond Cortez, Consul General of Dubai, United Arab Emirates. Let's go over to Cambodia. Crystal Ann Ballesteros joins us live from Cambodia. Hello, Crystal Ann.
Hi, Alma. Just a quick update on the education situation here in Cambodia. Yesterday, I mentioned that the Education Ministry started distance learning programs on the national television for students in the capital and provinces throughout the country. Now, the Education Ministry will broadcast live education programs in multiple languages on radio for indigenous children, while schools nationwide are temporarily closed. To prevent the spread of coronavirus, a ministry press release said yesterday the programs will be broadcast from April to June in the languages of Tumpon and Krong indigenous people in Ratanakiri province and Bunong ethnic people in Mundolkiri province. It has also advised directors of the Department of Education and relevant education officials in the two provinces to disseminate the information to parents, guardians, and students and create a suitable atmosphere for study. Meanwhile, help is non-stop amid COVID-19 outbreak. The COVID-19 started in China, the city, but still they helped the Kingdom of Cambodia. The City Hall yesterday received anti-epidemic medical supplies from China to assist the Kingdom in its fight against the coronavirus. The supplies were handed over by Chinese Ambassador Wang Wenshan to Phnom Penh Municipal Governor Kung Sreng at the municipality. The donation given by Shanghai Municipal People's Government sought to contribute support toward the Kingdom's ongoing campaign against the pandemic. Speaking at the handover ceremony, Mr. Sreng expressed appreciation towards the government and the people of Shanghai for their continued assistance. It is not the first time that China helped the Kingdom of Cambodia. Earlier this month, the Chinese government donated 7 tons of medical supplies worth approximately $500,000 to the Cambodian Health Ministry. Late March, the Chinese government has dispatched 4 military doctors to the kingdom to train Cambodian military medics on how to fight the COVID-19 pandemic. EXA, a spokesman of the Council of Ministers, said that China's support showed that two countries continue to stand strong and keep working together as friends for the common interest. This is what we mean by comprehensive strategic partnership of cooperation, he added. Alma?
All right. Thank you very much, Crystal, for that update. And we'll be seeing you for the rest of the week. Thank you so much and stay healthy as always. Thank you, Crystal.
Thank you, Alma. Live here in Cambodia, I am Crystal Ann Ballesteros, and we live in interesting times.
Okay, we head on over to Singapore. The country has extended its lockdown as the COVID-19 cases surge. John Lord Cruz joins us live from Singapore. Hello, John Lord.
Hello.
Hi. Good afternoon from Manila.
Yeah, good afternoon. Thank you, Alma. I'm doing good.
Okay.
Here are the updates in Singapore. Singapore has extended its virus lockdown after reporting an explosion of cases to the most in Southeast Asia. The outbreak among the migrant workers living in dormitories is a particular challenge. Singapore was initially successful in keeping its outbreak in check with strict regime of testing and contact tracing, but is now facing a fast-moving second wave. Prime Minister Lee Hsien Loong announced on Tuesday in a televised speech, Singapore will extend what the government is calling circuit breaker coronavirus restriction until June 1. Lee also announced new tighter measures, a package of restrictions and new rules, combined with harsh punishments designed to stop the new wave of cases, saying more workplaces will be closed so that only the most essential services will remain open. Lee added, this will reduce further the number of workers keeping essential services going and minimize the risk of community transmission among workers. Under the new tightened measures, social gatherings will still be banned and schools will stay closed. Whilst more non-essential services will be closed to prevent community spread of the virus. Cases have surged since the authorities started carrying out widespread testing of foreign workers living in crowded dormitory complexes, many of whom are construction workers from Southeast Asia. Around 200,000 workers live in dorms and typically toil for long hours, earning in the region of $400 to $500 a month, building the city-state's glittering skyscrapers and shopping malls. Singapore confirmed 1,111 new cases of the novel coronavirus on Tuesday, bringing the total number of confirmed cases to 9,125. Back to you, Alma.
John Lord, you said in your report cases have surged since authorities started carrying out testing of foreign workers living in crowded dormitory complexes. Parang mga condo siya, no? How is the government addressing this?
Yes, Alma. The government moved thousands of workers to other sites, including apartments and floating accommodation, usually used in offshore industries, to try to lessen the chances of infection. Several dormitories with serious outbreaks have been quarantined, with workers not allowed to leave the premises for 2 weeks. The government is providing meals and cleaning services have been ramped up. Meanwhile, a total of 18 foreign worker dormitories have been gazetted or assigned as isolation areas as the number of COVID-19 cases there continues to rise. Meanwhile, all work permit holders in the construction sector naman have been placed on mandatory stay-home notices until May 4 as a precautionary measure against the spread of COVID-19. The Ministry of Manpower, or MOM, and the Building and Construction Authority, or BCA, noted that while the recent rise in the number of foreign workers infected with coronavirus has mostly been concentrated in dormitories, there have been cases at construction work sites.
All right, so apektado rin pala ang construction work sites din, ano? All right, thank you very much for that update. I wish we had more time. Thank you, John Lord, for your time. Stay safe, stay healthy.
Thank you so much. This is John Lord Cruz reporting live from Singapore. We live in interesting times.
All right, and that is the latest news in the ASEAN region and other countries as well. We live